session of Simonton City Council. We'll call to order at 6:31, and we'll begin with the invocation and the pledge. I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give the council members wisdom and guidance as they deliberate on the items before them. We pray for wisdom, for strength, for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interest of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you for our military, at home and abroad. We thank you again for this council, our city staff, our first responders, and all those who work to make this place we call home such a wonderful city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 on the agenda is public comments. Ms. Jamie, do we have any comments today?
Yes, ma'am. First speaker, Christy Smith.
Christy Smith, 36630 Canyon Road. I just wanted to let y'all know of some things going on in the community. Diana Rivetti Keep Calm Hair Salon have teamed with 100.3 The Bull to send letters to our soldiers to get it to them by July 4th. So tomorrow's the last day at the salon. You're welcome to stop by. We already have the cards there with the envelopes, just Dear Soldier, thank you for your service, keep America great, whatever. And then sign up, no signature, sign them, we keep them open, and then she's gonna take them to the Bull Thursday morning to return to the station. So that's a great deed being done for July 4th for our little community, and that was all geared up by Diana. Also, just a reminder, I put out the no fireworks signs. City of Simonton is a no fireworks, please no fireworks. Hopefully people that are watching that are not here understand that as well. But we do have some great events going on. Susan's going to share some, but also a reminder that we will be at the Daily Park. It will be moved there, which will be great. And 6 to 10, free fireworks so everybody can come and watch. So that's the night of July 4th, and she'll tell you about the morning of July 4th. But that's it.
Thank you.
Miss Susan Ledart.
Hi, I'm not going to give you my address. So I just wanted to let everyone know that the POA is hosting an event too, since most of the city is in Valley Lodge, but all of the cities are invited. They're going to be a parade, line up at 9:30. Parade starts at 10. Meeting up at the park. There'll be hot dogs, ice cream, watermelon, some drinks. Billy Glory will be giving an introduction or invocation. It probably lasts a few hours, so everything's free. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I think there's a flyer that says where to line up with your new.
Yeah, so I actually had signs made, so I'll be putting those out next year for fireworks signs that let people know what time and that we're actually doing it on the floor.
Abby did them out for the parade.
Yeah, it's a host of volunteers getting this together. So.
Yes.
You're doing a great job. I'm just repeating so that people watching or listening can look for it.
Great.
Thank you, Christy.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. Janie, do we have any other speakers?
No, ma'am, that's all.
Great, thank you. Item 4, consider and take action on the consent agenda. Council, do we have a motion?
No. I would like to ask that we move all of it to consider action. There's errors in every...
Okay, so you'd just like to remove some or all of the items?
Remove all of the items as the minutes need adjustments.
Okay, just one sec, we'll go through it. Just whichever ones you want to pull.
A and B.
Okay. All right, so the meeting minutes under consideration, number 4A, are draft meeting minutes from June 4th, regular meeting. They've already, to my recollection, been corrected. That was a different one. So what is your correction, ma'am?
Bill Glitch is his name, I believe. And it states here that he presented us with documents that he did not.
Can you tell me what?
It
You're
says
talking about
public
under
present,
4B?
it says Bill Glitch. Under public comments, it says Bill Glitch.
Yeah, the man who.
And then 4B, it's on my head because I can't see. 4B, it also says Bill Glitch, but it says that he briefly explained the purpose of the bond and that presented us with documents that we didn't get.
Because they were presented.
So Bill Glitch addressed, it says, Bill Glitch addressed the city council briefly, explaining the purpose and process of bond conduit sales. He noted the city of Simonton's history of having engaged in this type of business facilitated by the city of Simonton Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation on 12 previous occasions over the years. Is that what is that statement what you're referring to? Just making sure I'm talking about the same thing.
All
that
of
you're
it.
talking
He introduced himself as Bill Glitch, first of all. So,
His name is Bill Glitch, so if we had a misunderstanding on that day, his
and
last name
again,
is
I mean,
Glitch.
it just wasn't noted in the minutes that we asked for those documents to be presented that were signed at the previous council or previous meeting that was had. And we were not, that's not in the minutes at all.
I don't
In his
recall
presentation.
that, so he,
I think she's referring to the documents that we signed in the meeting. Burns, yourself, and
that the
me.
Education Facilities
Oh.
Corporation signed. I don't recall you having a request for those documents, so I don't recall that conversation happening during the meeting at all, but we can surely look
I
back
assure
and see
you that
if
it was occurred.
if it was on that record.
In that
So
regard.
I'm really sorry to ask you this for the third time. Sure. Just keep me on the right, so we give you what you're asking for. What you'd like is to look at the documents that were signed?
I asked for
Or
the
what
documents
is-
that were signed in, or whatever occurred in the meeting that we were asked to leave for. And he said the document, over and over again, the documents that were signed tonight, the documents that were signed tonight, and I asked when we would be able to see those, and it's just not noted in the minutes at all.
Okay, so we're looking for Councilmember Cox. Request to view the executed documents. Is that right?
Correct. In the closed meeting that was had prior to our city council meeting. On the 4th.
Okay, so Janie, you feel like you've captured what we're looking for a note that she asked for that during the last meeting. Okay. I might be the one who's just, all right, did you have another item?
And then
To correct
B,
in
all
the-
of 4B
Okay, if we could
is,
stay with the minutes for a
Sorry.
second.
No,
Did you
that
have
was
any
it.
other changes
No,
in the
that was it.
minutes? Did anybody else have corrections in the minutes? All right, so we have an option on these minutes that we could accept them now as corrected, if that's added, or we can bring them back next meeting after we've reviewed the recording and see if that needs to be added. It's up to council to make a motion or a recommendation.
I make a motion that we bring them back and review, just to be sure that we didn't miss anything last time
Okay.
on the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I do. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I don't know if I'm missing the boat here or what. If you look at 4C, the second paragraph, it's saying that Mayor Pro Tem Cox approved the moving ahead of all of that. So
Correct.
why are we going to review it again?
We're reviewing it because it's not in the minutes, and until something is in the minutes, it cannot be presented to the county, which means that any kind of bonds that you signed in that
Do you not
secret
understand
meeting.
you've already approved this?
I understand 100%. It means it can be refuted 100%. It can be turned over, and we can actually be sued as a city for not doing it the proper way, because it was done in a secret meeting and in a not noticed meeting.
So, one moment, it was in a perfectly appropriate meeting. Phil, will you weigh in with us so that we can have everybody clear?
Yeah, so the meeting of the cultural, and I'm going to blank on the acronym, so I'll need correction on that. the meeting that took place prior to the city council meeting last, I guess, June 4th, wasn't it? Was the meeting that discussed the bond or the conduit bond through the, was it the City of Simonton Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation. So it was a meeting of that finance corporation, which is not subject to the Open Meetings Act.
So Councilmember Cox is asking us to be sure and add to the minutes that she asked for a copy, like she'd like to view those documents, which is fine, but correct me if I'm wrong, but what you just stated is that you feel that the bond can be overturned and we could be legally liable if it doesn't say in the minutes that she asked to view those documents.
I don't know if that specific request is going to result in anything being turned over because of what was voted on was both the resolution and the general certificate of the City of Simonton, Texas. We will definitely, we want to reflect the minutes as accurately as possible, so that I agree that needs to be reviewed and make sure that we capture that action correctly, and then any documents that are requested by a member of council, we could organize with Jamie to provide that, of course, but
we're not in any danger of doing something illegal that would result in this bond having an issue, a concern by having a correction to the minutes of what was asked for.
not with the what correction is needed. Now, if the correction was that this wasn't voted for, or the correction was that it was actually 5 no's, then yes, that's an issue.
I just don't want to leave this with a misconception that we are in legal peril. We're not in legal peril on that bond. But we certainly can update the minutes and review that. All right, so I think we needed, sorry.
Got a second.
Kelly, you were up for discussion. Did you have anything else?
I think it's been.
Okay. Any further
answered.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That was unanimous. Okay, item B, City Council financial reports. We have reports, council reports and payment reports for January, February, March, and April. January and February, council requested a correction last month. So those have been corrected to reflect, in the same category. There was an error in which category are consulting fees, which are being listed under miscellaneous. Because you can't, that's for Janie's services, those can't be listed in payroll in fund accounting. So there was entry, or maybe 2, that were entered in the wrong bucket, wrong category, so those have been corrected for January.
Lori, I already made a motion to have those removed so that we can further discuss them.
We're discussing them right now. We're going to go one by one. So tell me what you need, and I'll be happy to go through it.
I saw several things
Okay.
in January.
All right, January
okay.
in the payment report,
In the council
report.
Things like, in January, the mayor council, for one thing,
Okay.
is under community outreach.
Yes.
But and it is so in April and March, it's listed under miscellaneous. And there's quite a few
I think
things.
there's a difference in that one of when we were hosting and expenses for that versus when these would be when we were paying to send. I can look them up, but show me the exact examples.
And I went back to our 30-cent budget and I couldn't see that we had miscellaneous.
We
And
removed almost all of them,
administration.
but because we need somewhere to put the consulting fees, it's not really consulting, but the fees that are paid to
Right.
Texas First for Jamie, which didn't exist at the time we wrote the budget.
Okay.
We're putting them in a line item called miscellaneous, so that we can do a mid-year correction to fund that, so that we don't end the year in the negative. Or we can put them in consulting if you prefer to have them there. That part is easy for us to change if you like it called something else.
It just seems like there's too many things ending up in miscellaneous, and we, like you said, we've taken it out. So that
Well, some
seems the
departments-
budget.
I'm sorry.
So,
Sorry, some departments do still have a miscellaneous line, but we removed quite a few at your request before the budget was final. So it just depends on which category you're talking about. In the case of the consulting fees, I'm calling it consulting, the fees for Janie's service, we can put that in whatever department we prefer to have it. If you'd rather have it called consulting, and we'll put that in with our LJA and our Dura, and all those things can be in the same, and we just make notes of what each one is.
and why can't it be in employment?
There isn't a category, I'm using the wrong term, a fund that's called employment, because there are funds already set up for when you do payroll. So you can request a one-off or something different than that. It just is something additional, and we're trying not to create complication while we don't have experts here that are on site enough hours of the day to read that. But we certainly can. If you want it called something else, that's all we have to do is move it.
And I do see that Janie has, we pay her, but I don't see, I never see anything about paying Julie. Where is
So
hers?
payroll, hold on, I made a note about it so I can answer your question about that. I asked.
Philip, while she's looking for that, I made a motion. Is it not customary to second that motion and then move it for discussion?
So I
Because this
just
is in the
pulled-
consent agenda currently. We'd
No,
like-
no, the request was pulled out, so it's out of the consent agenda. Both items are out. And so you addressed A, and now you're addressing B.
Okay.
But did you have a further motion on B before going through them? I just want to
They're
clarify.
inaccurate. They need to be pulled and completely, they're all wrong. Every single one of them is wrong.
I would disagree with you, so we're going to go through each one of them line by line right now, so that if there is still something that you disagree with, I can take it back and work on it.
Right. I was
So to
asking.
answer your question, payroll is not an accounts payable, and this is all report of payments. So that would be a separate kind of report. If you want to see how much we're paying Julie, we've paid her so far, we can certainly run that, but that's not this standard report.
But
And-
shouldn't it be a part of it?
Yeah.
Whoever we pay?
FundView, response to us, to your question, because I asked that after our last one, is that it's not accounts payable, and that's why it's not an accounts payable report.
It's payroll.
It's payroll. So it would
Janie
be a-
is not
it would be
paid
a
out of payroll.
report, which we don't
Janie's on
usually
there, Julie's not.
do.
Janie
but
is not
we can
paid
if you
out of
wanna see the
payroll.
report.
She's considered a consultant.
Did I answer your question? I
I
mean,
feel a
if you,
little fuzzy on it, but, and
I don't
it's
blame
like you.
That's why we need a general ledger. I mean, we're talking
well,
about
it's here.
It
It's
is?
here, and if you tell me what you prefer, like, Faith would like to see a payroll report, so I can make a note and
Well,
run an additional payroll report.
A general ledger
But-
is each account listed with beginning balance, transactions for that account for the month, and their beginning balance.
Mhm.
And then it becomes real clear. This is more like a trial
I
balance,
feel-
not criticizing it. I just think it, so if you do a
So
general
this is
ledger,
monthly?
include payroll. It does.
This is what we're presenting monthly and have
Yeah.
been, is what we're paying out, and then a summary
Yeah.
page that has income and expenses.
Yeah.
If the, I can't come up with the word, Burns, actual versus budget,
Oh, yeah.
we will be doing that
Yeah,
like
soon, at some
in
point.
super depth while we
Yeah.
work on the budget.
And then I think it'll be easier to understand.
It's an additional report, and to not make it so complicated,
Yeah.
it's not usually in the monthly, but if that's what everybody would prefer, we can try that next month and see if you like it better. This is more stripped out to show you what you asked for. So, for example, before several of you all were elected last year, and when you got here, you asked for all the payments made, like line by line. So that's what we've added this report that says how much we paid for electricity, how much we paid for the mobile phones, how much we paid for whatever the things are. I'm just trying to create what you would like and then bring it every single time consistently so you can look at the same report compared to the same report. But if it's not what you like, then you do something different.
For 13 months, we've been
software-
asking for the same information that's not been provided for.
What information are you looking for that you're not getting?
We're not getting the bills, the financials. We see, for 13 months, we have
But you
not
have the
seen.
bills right
No,
in
ma'am.
front of you.
No, ma'am. These are
You can see how
inaccurate.
much.
I can tell you that Tara hasn't been employed with us since January, and yet we have a bill for her for $2,000 in March. We also have a bill from Ida Wall, who has not been employed with this city since February at latest, that is still listed in the bills paid. These are, all you're doing is moving dates. The April dates are some inclusive of, I don't know, 15 payments
Okay,
that
so what we're
happened
gonna do
June the
then-
24th.
Councilmember Cox, we are going to go one document at a time, and we'll go through and figure out exactly what needs to be corrected or what your questions are, because I can't fix it if we don't go through line by line and just have accusations thrown. So if
It's
you
not
don't
an
mind,
accusation, it's
we
an
are-
actual statement
okay,
of.
If you don't mind, we are still on January, and I'm coming right back to you because I want to make sure that I've answered or can get what Councilmember Haley asked for. So you would
Like
like
I
to see
said,
a payroll report so you can see how much Julie is being paid.
And
And that's-
last meeting, you mentioned, is it Easy Task, that's CPA, does some CPA work, but we don't see any bills now.
Easy Task is software and website,
Okay.
not,
I don't see that though in here.
some people are slow in billing and we're having to go after them and say, like our housekeeping lady, just, you have to
I
just
see
repeatedly
her.
ask her, and she only bills every 6 months. So Easy Task hasn't billed us, and that's why they haven't been paid. So we have to go after them and make sure that we end the year with everything clean. Remind them that they need to bill us.
Okay, we're going line
It's okay,
by
do you
line.
have anything else in January particularly? I made a note that in January, or for all months, you would like to see a payroll report, so you can see that. Do
Yeah.
something else.
Like Janie's apartment utilities, $500.
That is because they didn't bill us, and so we ended up paying, I don't have that one pulled up, but we ended paying multiple months in one bill. And so then you see it after that is more in line, $140, $160, and that's gas, electric, and water. But that, so that was a one-time bill that was catching up.
And what is it that we pay AT&T? I know
pay-
it says technology, but what is that?
We pay for our fiber, our internet is fiber. And we pay for, which is the phone service here, the fiber is internet and phone. And then we pay for cell phones
So,
and that are, what's the law enforcement? AT&T. FirstNet.
so there's two bills on the same day for AT&T. One $665, the other $655,
Mhm.
and that's phones and
So when I
internet.
wrote, I think I wrote, I don't know if I copied you guys, sent you
Yeah,
guys the
catch up.
copy where I wrote on them.
Yeah.
But that one says catch up December on the one that's 665.90. And that's when our city credit card had a fraud alert and it was, so the draft didn't go through, so we paid that one late. And then January was the 655.74.
Does that fraud alert happen every month? Because we pay it
It's
every month
happened
that way.
3 times, so. Fortunately, it hasn't happened in this last couple of months. Did you have anything else for January?
No.
Courtney, you have anything for January to know?
Your statements are not making sense or not clear in the fact that we do have a bucket and or account description and a GL account code for payroll. It's listed
Cannot
very clear
put-
here.
Yes,
and-
payroll is an automatically generated, it's for employees only. And so the taxes and fees, those are considered accounts payable versus payroll, and that's why they show up. But the payroll itself, I can get for you with a payroll report.
Okay, so in this council, what you're calling a council report, our GL codes are not followed clearly because you
That
have.
is absolutely not true, and it's
If I could
very
finish.
unprofessional for you to continue to
It's
throw
actually
barbs.
very unprofessional for
When
you
you
to
can't
present
quantify
this.
what
I
is
can
the problem.
100% qualify it.
Okay, well,
if
let's
you'll-
go, let's do it. Tell me which ones.
You've got community outreach, one for which is a fundraiser at the community church.
Is this in January? I'm
In
so sorry.
January, absolutely. You said you wanted to go line by
You
line.
got it. So which one is this,
Um,
under administration?
Simonton Community Church, SCA Gala, that was a
Mhm.
fundraiser, political fundraiser.
It is not political, that's for
For
the school,
the
the church school, right here in
$270.
Simonton. Courtney, that's for the church school,
Can I
and,
finish?
no, I'm still talking about this same item. That is not a political fundraiser. That is in support of the one school that is in Simonton, and the city of Simonton has been supporting that school, this gala, at some level, typically budgeted up to $1,000. This year, we spent $270, made a donation to the school.
It was listed in community outreach.
Yes.
It should have been listed in a different category. We
Yeah, well,
don't
that's
have
where
the
it's listed every year.
funds. We don't have the funds
What
listed in
category
our.
do you think it should be listed in?
We don't have the funds in our budget allocated for community outreach to this extent. If I can continue, your consulting fees, everything is listed here as consulting, copy and printing, miscellaneous. When you go through the actual
which
budget
items are we
filed with the
talking
city count, or the council, excuse me, county clerk, we don't have miscellaneous funds allocated to anything, which would have required a budget amendment done, to your call, mid-year, which would have been February, March, and those have not been done in years. We
That
have
is-
massively overexpended ourselves in the miscellaneous categories. I have 100% proof of all of it. The subscriptions, the technology.
Show
you
us the
have
proof.
Every, the county
No,
clerk.
show us the proof. You said you have the proof, so show
I
us the
do.
proof.
I don't need to show you the proof. She needs to show us
Okay.
the actual document.
But if you don't mind,
Everything here is in, you can go through January, you can go through February, you can go through March. We've been asking for 13 months for financial documents regarding the budget. We have been denied. Every single one of these entries is wrong. All you did was change the dates and or take things out or replace things. In the original January document that we got, there was flowers for Erica's dad passing and things like that. Those are nowhere to be found anymore.
that was in December and you approved those.
No, we
were
didn't.
talking
You
about
removed
January
them.
and February. I
You removed them.
absolutely did not.
And then again, you can, I mean, I can go line by line, but I don't think you want me to. We've got legal
Well,
services.
I would like you to give me something that I could
as-
go back and take action on, because right now you're just ranting and saying everything is wrong. It is not wrong. But if
According
you would like
to
anything
our,
updated, I could certainly work on that.
according to our GL codes and every other governmental GL codes that are utilized in the state of Texas, we have categories within our budget that are allocated for these things. What we did when we changed it to 30 cents is we removed 95% of miscellaneous categories, yet 95% of these payroll, or excuse me, council reports, as you're referring to them, are listed as miscellaneous.
Well, that is a just incorrect statement. There is not 95% of things listed as miscellaneous. That is absolutely, we got consulting fees,
3,
consulting,
4,
consulting,
5,
copy,
6.
subscription, postage and office supply, technology, I mean,
But again, I mean, they're not GL coded correctly.
Well,
So
they
again,
are
that's
coded.
the reason we're talking about
and
it.
the state doesn't mandate what GL codes we use. Our software in FundView is where the codes come from, it's where the entire budget lives, and all these items, with the exception of apartment utilities, apartment rent, and Jamie Woman's services, are all accounted for in the budget. And the way you make a correction on a budget is figure out what you need, what you spent, what needs to happen, and then you propose a mid-year adjustment, and council considers and approves. So you're correct, we have not done a mid-year adjustment yet. We need to have the expenses we've spent, which we can do easily, and a forecast of what the remaining expenses are. How much longer, for in this case, would Janie be with us so we can forecast what's needed, and then make that budget adjustment proposal to council. That's it. But saying streetlights and electricity and technology and all these other categories we're using are wrong, or that we're not using them, is mischaracterizing how this is being managed. So if you'd like to go through the lines and tell me which ones need something specific done to them, I'm happy to do that. Or you could submit it separately if you don't want to do it line by line now. But to say this is wrong is inaccurate.
It's 100% wrong, Lori.
So I just want to state, just so the public knows, that there are 35 lines in this document that we're looking for January, 6 of which say miscellaneous. So it's about 17% that are listed as miscellaneous, not 95%. So the over-exaggeration needs to stop. And if you want to talk about the miscellaneous items, then let's do that.
It's not a matter of talking about the miscellaneous.
That's exactly what it is.
Man, I can't wait to finish the sentence. The situation at hand is that we've been asking for 13 months and countless meetings for actual financial statements, and we have not seen an actual correct one yet.
What does that have to do with this?
Also
That has everything to
inaccurate.
do with the fact that this is wrong. We should have looked at, we've had Janie, forgive me, Janie, I think you've been here since September of last year.
Yes, ma'am, I
If I'm
came the week of
accurate.
September the 11th.
Yes, ma'am. And we have yet to do a mid-year budget, yet we are stepping into budget season again. We have, according to you, not done any kind of budget amendments, which is exactly what we've been asked, or what I've been asking personally. I won't speak for everybody else. But I've been asking for those financial documents so that we could see where the expenditures have occurred and we could make proper financial decisions that cannot be refuted in the future. If we enter into a contract with, Mr. Joesh over here or anybody under the sun, we have to see where those funds have been spent. This is an inaccurate document. Whether anything is under consulting, we've spent $92,000 nope, that was February. January, we spent $92,000, 6 of which might have been under miscellaneous. The rest are under community outreach or consulting. And when it equivalates to more than 75, if not 80% of our spending, I think we need to see those documents.
So
Apparently I'm lost.
Clearly.
Let me ask a question. So in January, under our administration, it might be page 2. The very first expense is on January 10th for $70,180.52 for Ardura. It's under consulting, which is where it was budgeted, and the item description says consulting fees. That is for the comprehensive plan.
Correct.
So
What's wrong about
what would
it?
be wrong with it being in
It's not
consulting?
that, it is the rest of it. You have,
But so are you saying the miss is that you didn't personally see the $70,000 invoice?
no, I'm saying that
Or what document are you asking for?
we have been asking for financials for 13 months.
Right here,
Lori.
you're looking at it.
This
And
is
it's corrected from the request you made for January and February last month.
She just doesn't know how to read it.
And I'm
No,
very well
you
aware.
obviously don't know how to read that financial. We've
so-
witnessed it for a year, right?
Hey, if you don't mind, no comments from the gallery. I don't know how to solve.
I don't
for
know
you.
how many other ways to ask you for financials, Lori. We've been
You're
asking for
looking at
13
financials.
months.
This
No,
is
ma'am.
the same
No, ma'am. This
financials?
is not what we've asked for. We've asked for actual, you show no payments to credit cards on any of these payments. You show no payments to,
So,
you show receipt of credit cards, but you don't show any kind of, it's very inconsistent.
So what you
There's
like-
no payment to Julie, there's no payment to, there is payment to people like Tara and or Ida that occurred months after they had left our city. And there's thousands of dollars here that is all listed as miscellaneous. When you are doing a budget, you cannot put that in a miscellaneous category that you don't have the money accounted for. It has to be amended with the county clerk in order to work it out that way, so that when we go into budgeting, we have the actual versus what was spent. If you have an over expenditure, you have to explain that. You said at the last meeting that we had an over expenditure in our employment budget, which is clearly listed in our budget that we filed with the county clerk. And now we're paying them as consultants because we don't have any more budget in that. That requires an amendment.
Right, so you are mischaracterizing what I said. We're not paying anyone out of consulting because we don't have money somewhere else. We are paying Janie Willman her housing expenses, her utilities, and the money that goes to Texas First Group for her services. All of those are in miscellaneous. That is the only thing that has been added or put into a category that was not budgeted. We know that we have money in payroll that we have not expended on employees of the city. And you'll see when I pull the payroll report for Faith, you can look right at that. But the budget amendment that I've mentioned the last 2 months that needs to be done, that we're not prepared yet to present, but I brought it up saying that it needed to be done, is so that we can do a correction in order to pay for all of the items related to Janie Willman working with us as our interim city secretary. So that budget amendment will come. If there are any other categories that need to be handled at the same time, they would be. I can't imagine yet what that might be, but let's say it was in construction or repairs. If there are any others that look like they would exceed what the budget was, that'll come to council for your approval.
So did I understand you correctly in stating that Julie Watts is not paid off of this, that her pay is not on this report?
That is correct. You can see
100%
Julie's
it's not
taxes.
accurate. It's not accurate.
It
So what
is-
else did you take out?
I've said 3 times since we've been sitting here that that payroll report is a different report because payroll is not accounts payable. It's an addition to this. Nothing's been removed. This is a payable report, which is what you asked for when you got elected. And we began giving you, so item by item. The credit card that you're accusing us of hiding somewhere, it's in here. Instead of saying credit card.
Where's it at?
It's we pay the items. So for example, Amazon is paid by credit card.
I don't see an Amazon
So-
charge on here.
Well, on January, page number 2.
There's a $94
It says
charge on there.
Amazon.com, $94.62. That's a credit card payment. Our electricity with Hudson Energy is paid by a credit card. So what you do is you upload your credit card charges to FundView so that you have line by line by line of what they are. And then we attach the receipts, the bills in FundView so that when it comes audit time, she can see the bill for the electricity that matches the $684, whatever it is that we paid. So it's a record-keeping system and everything is here. Because payroll is a completely separate entity or report, that is why how much she gets paid is not in this report. But you can see what the payroll taxes we are paying, et cetera, are.
So this is not a complete report, correct?
It is a complete report. It
If
is a
Julie's
payables
not
report.
on here.
Okay, Julie's,
Abby's an employee.
No.
Sorry, Abby.
Abby is a contractor,
Okay, she's
and
a
that's why hers is
contractor.
separate.
Janie is a contractor, but we show taxes, we show insurance, we do not show her payroll.
That is correct.
So it's not a
So
complete
what you
report.
need,
It is
You need a
complete
separate-
report.
No, that's
Payroll
not what I
is a
asked for.
separate report.
That's not what I
Okay.
asked.
council members, other council members, do you have specific questions or
Yeah.
items that need to be corrected or moved or
I just have
addressed?
one question, and
Okay.
it's down on March, it's just from,
March.
because I don't, yeah, it's it's just my ignorance. Fort Bend County Appraisal District, that water billing, what do we pay them for? I mean, what are we paying them for?
What page?
I'm sorry, it's
It's
down
both things at
in
the bottom.
March, under the council report, and it's like, I'm sorry, can't even read that page.
Yeah,
Oh, it's here.
it says page 1.
Page 1, I'm sorry.
Okay,
And do you see the 5,800, third from the top? 5,800.
Oh, the appraisal district.
Yeah, so what
Billing.
did we pay them for?
QC, hold on.
And it says quarter 3 billing, so it looks like we pay it 4 times a year.
What's this time?
They, I'm sorry, only once this time, what? What
No, I
was
was
that?
just saying only once this time.
Okay, yeah, it's quarterly. Burns, let me
Yeah,
get my memory
I'm just
bank going here.
curious.
We get there's a weekly, and I believe there's a quarterly settlement of money that is due to us.
Right.
And if they overpay us, or we have to pay them back. But let me verify that with
Oh,
Julie,
so it's
and I'll
like
give you a better.
something it varies then?
Yeah.
And you settle
Right.
up every quarter?
Yes.
Okay.
And so when appraisals come in,
Got it.
or when there's been protest and values are
And
reversed,
so you have to give money
we
back
could owe
and
them
all that kind of
money.
stuff? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Only other
Justin, did
thing-
you have any?
I'm the same with them, but those are mine.
Okay.
Only other ones I
Kelly,
have
just one
is-
moment. Kelly, did you have any comments? You look like you might have something else, babe.
Well, since we were in March, again, it says mayor and council dinner is under miscellaneous. Again, it's where the ones.
Oh, is that would be an error. Help me find it. What page? Page?
Let's see.
It was the same page.
Oh, page 1.
The very first
Guys,
item.
Going to Weston Lakes.
Yeah.
And there's another one on page 2. It says it's miscellaneous.
Thank you. On page 2?
So, and
Also in
I
March?
don't, and I don't know why it's under
Emergency
emergency
management.
management.
Show me which one you're talking about. I don't see it on
Yeah,
page.
it looks like it's the second, March 25th under emergency management.
That might have been an error.
Mayor and
item.
council dinner.
That means,
Correction.
Oh,
To
yeah?
that means,
community outreach. Okay?
Lori, on the same page, look at
General.
non-departmental,
Mhm.
and you have dates 6/3/2024.
I know this one.
Okay.
You also don't show any
So-
employment payment at all, whether it's consulting or not in the month of March.
So that's right here in March on page 2. That's why it says 3/6. Over in the description category, it says unemployment, Medicare, employer and employee, and Social Security. It was
Entered in.
not, so the invoice date and the period that it is for is for March, for 3/6. It didn't get paid until 6/3. So that was an error, something that was missed, and that's why she added the dates March 3rd, so that you could see why it has 2 separate dates on it. But it belonged in March, so that's why you were seeing it in March,
Yeah,
even
there
though we
was
paid it during
corrections,
June.
but that makes sense.
That's okay.
You're also gonna see that in April, the entire latter portion of this April, the thing, the non-departmental is all 6/3 and then 6/24. Looks like, are we seriously paying the IRS and Texas Workforce? Who are we paying for unemployment?
You have to.
You have to pay it in order to be a member, and it was 97 cents.
Oh, okay, that's fine, but all of the others are 2 months behind
It's
as far as
posting,
the IRS
bursting.
and Social
Yeah,
Security.
because part of it is automated and part of it is not. It has to be manually triggered, and that's how some of them became late. But that's why you see that Julie included the dates in the description, and that they are posting to you in the month where they were due, or where they belong, to try and make it as clear.
A couple of them in April. I'm assuming it's for the roundup. It's April the 1st on the front page there. Face painting, $300.
Yes,
But
that's the
it's
roundup.
listed under general fund administration.
That's actually being corrected to Keep Simonton View. Is it called Keep Simonton? Yeah, KSB.
There are quite a few corrections. Let's see. How about the LJA engineering?
Is that in April?
In April, on the second page.
Okay.
One for 8,600, another for 8,000.
Those are related to this project.
Which project?
Sorry, I've said this, the ARPA, the building expansion.
There's also another
And-
$11,000 shy of that.
Hold on one second. I got more detail about that. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. Attorney, you're talking about LJA, the first one is $514.88. Or you want to talk, the next two are the ones 8637.
Yeah, no, I saw them someplace.
Yeah, you've got those under listed under emergency management.
Is 8637, related to the ARPA project, and they bill it at, they separate it into hours and their rate per hour according to which person is doing which thing. So the bid administrator was 2 1/4 hours at $72.72 an hour. So these invoices like this are attached in fund view, so electronically, the auditor or anybody else, if they were to look at that expense, they could see this invoice. So that's the ARPA project. And then the next one for $8,041.91, same thing.
And there's two of them in February for 4,800, and another one to Ortega, was at 13,650.
Lo Ortega is the architect who drew the plans for the building. And what was the other one you asked me?
The one before it, 4,863.
Is that in April?
I know, it's in February.
I can't find it. So which page are we on?
Page 2 in February.
February.
Okay, so Lo Ortega was the architect, the 4,863. That one. That one is partly regular engineering fees that we pay for, like plan reviews for permits and flood plan reviews and things like that, and partly an expense for the ARPA project when we were out to bid.
Do we have a copy of that contract with them?
Which contract? Which one?
I guess with this, whoever
LJ.
Lo Ortega is.
Yes, it's in the ARPA project in the contract, and that was their one item, was when they drew these plans for us. But so that's contained within your ARPA documents.
I know part of our frustration is just, this is June, we're looking at January, and everything's so far behind, and there are a lot of mistakes. And last year, I sat in here with Julie and asked her for actual budget versus actual, and that were correct,
Yeah.
and never got them. They were, I mean, where these added up, say consulting said $3,600, and the budget versus actual said 0. And it was, technology said on these reports at like $4,000, and it said 0 on those reports. I said, that's why I said they could not possibly be accurate. So hopefully, in this budget season, we can actually get correct reports, because we don't feel like we've been able, voted as a council to be able to see the books, have them open, or we have a closed meeting and do
Right.
that. And we really need to do that.
It's absolutely available at the schedule. Julie only is working 11 or 12 hours a week, so we're working around her being able to pay the bills and then also have time to do the entries. She's been correcting things from when Ida was trying to learn. I think we're about the end of that. So absolutely, there can be errors like putting something instead of community outreach, it was in the wrong category. And that's why we ask you all to review them so we can fix and make sure that we're right. There are additional reports like the budget versus actual. Burns has been helping us work on that a little bit to make sure what it looks like and does it give what we want. And we're ready to start that with
Good,
July
'cause we've
reports.
got budget
But it will be,
season.
absolutely. And that will be in addition to this. So you all have to decide with the amount of time she has every month, what would be the view you want to look at? Because we probably can't produce 10 different kinds of reports, but we certainly want to make sure we get the one that has the most, the information you want the most. So more to come on that. And we have been running budget versus actual. It's looking good. I do not want to give it to you until we're sure we've got it right. For this very reason. Accusations that we're doing it wrong. Yeah, we have errors, that's right. There's nothing malicious about it. We want to give you the best information we can, so. And it's budget time, we got to have it right. That's right. Okay, so thank you for those corrections. I will take that back and update those
Again,
with,
I'm gonna make a motion to pull these until the corrections can be made and accurate documents can be provided till the next meeting.
I'm trying to figure out how to
So motion.
put your motion together
A
with
motion to
initial
the,
table
motion.
until the next meeting.
with the next.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to table all 4 months of financials,
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we do them all in one?
Yes,
Phil?
yeah, because it's one item.
Okay. So we have a motion to table all of these financial reports until next month. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the motion fails. I guess I should have asked for the noes. We didn't get the ayes, so the motion fails for lack of an agreement.
Why would we
Counsel?
pass something?
Why would we pass something that's incorrect,
Yeah.
that you've admitted is incorrect?
So the other council members have an opportunity to make their own motions. I'm not going to speak for everybody. Do we have a different motion?
I don't know how to say it, but I know that we can't pass something that needs to be corrected. Otherwise, we're putting our stamp of approval on it.
Well, I think you, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but I think you have options to approve it with the corrections that have been noted. You could approve some and hold some if you think one has something that needs more addressing than another. I mean, there are options of how the council might like to handle that.
Have we gone through every item? Have we gone through and actually notated every question that we have, every concern on the items?
Nope.
I've noted the ones that are in an incorrect category, like there was I think 2 that should have been in community outreach that are in, one's in emergency management, so it needs to be in general, and they both need to be moved into community outreach. Those types of notes.
I'll make a motion to approve them with the corrections, the updated corrections.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
You have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Are you abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
So Ms. Haley is abstaining. Jeannie, did you get everybody that you need?
Just one moment. Maybe put it together.
Abstention votes without conflict, just counts now
Okay,
for the record, or for the 3-2.
okay. So I have a motion by Councilmember Justin Boudreau, second by Councilmember Kelly Matula. And in the vote, I have one abstention by Councilmember Faith Haley. Okay. And what were the affirmative votes on that second, on this motion that we're working on here, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being invested in it. Moving on to item 5, new business. Consider and take action on contract for professional services for Economic Development Director, Mr. Joe Esch. Joe is with us tonight. The management consulting contract that we already have had and has expired. So this would be a renewal proposal, but Joe has added some features that would help us have some reduced cost with some additional associates doing some portions of the work. Joe, you want to speak to it? You can do it a lot more eloquently than I can.
Well, okay. So, Mayor indicated there were a number of items that you wish to pursue, so I tried to articulate those in a summary of the activities to be included in the general contract. Then also looking to, there's a number of things that you end up doing is to move forward where you may have data research or other things that you, so we try to use I use different personnel at different levels to make sure that you're not using someone, you're not using a hammer, a sledgehammer to the nail, as you might say. So the contract reflects the idea that there is each thing that you want to move forward, then we deal with a specific proposal. You ask to do a service, we provide you with, and underneath that to make sure before it proceeds that there's a specific cost for that item. And that there's an idea of how much it costs, so that there's not an idea, but you're not surprised later on. As if there are any questions or items, I'm happy to answer them. We've helped. So the idea was that the corporations, you're trying to retool your economic development corporations. You're trying to make sure you educate the board. You're trying to move forward a number of items that are listed in there. I'm not sure what else that you'd like to discuss, but I'm happy to answer the question.
Thank you so much, Joe. So we've discussed, and also with council, that there have been a request from some volunteers in the community that would like to join in with the EDCs, but they'd like to know more about it and what their responsibilities would be, what the time commitment is, etc. So Joe would, as part of the agreement, one of the first things would be to help us do what I would call an EDC 101 or an education class. It would be for current board members, the about 12 people that are interested in serving, have said that they either for sure would, like Dub Sabersula, or some folks who said, I would really like to, but can you tell me more? I've been looking at some dates for that. I thought I was going to give you a date tonight, but Dub has a conflict, so we'll work on that a little bit longer. But so we'll start with that. It'll work on advising both EDC boards, will help us define and move forward with zoning and how the EDC boards are involved in that, how can they be, what work can be done, and those types of items. So first thing we need to do is renew our agreement. And Joe's proposed contract is included in your packet. And I believe if I copied it correctly, which y'all check me, that there should be a rate sheet included. Yes, Exhibit A. I thought I missed it, y'all. Exhibit A, rates and expenses. So this is essentially a pay-as-you-go type agreement. We pay Joe and his team for work completed. There is no flat.
But I would suggest you only pay for work that you're authorized. There's not something that's as directed, it's not where, it's a free rein. Each project is something that's directed and approved before it proceeds, so it's not a wide open idea.
Thank you, Joe. So you could say it more eloquently.
And as we go through that project, we'll discuss what tier or what level individual's going to be working on it, doing
The concept is you want to prove this, let's get that, let's give you a specific cost before you
Full scope
authorize
on
it,
that.
just like it says of expenses. Sometimes, for example, when you did the comprehensive plan, there's certain resources you put with data. Well, before the city incurs the cost, you need to have an understanding of what that cost is going to be so that you're not approving a blank slate and it goes way above and you're surprised. So the idea would be, here's a number of hours, here's the estimate of how it works, here's the things that we do, and then the billing then says, here's the number of hours, here's what was done, here's the cost associated with it, it matches it. And I have had no problem with saying capping that, as here's the project, so that you're approving it and you're not finding out that you've spent more money than you've spent.
So our initial scope of work is that first section on Exhibit A.
I make a motion to table this until for the next EDC meeting so that EDC can actually discuss the parameters of this. In section 1, summary of services terms, the date is incorrect, so this particular contract is void anyway. It's only good until October the 1st of 2024.
The date's not incorrect. Our fiscal year ends September 30th, so the date is to keep us in line with the fiscal year.
Correct. That way it expires at the end of the fiscal year.
So you're
The last
wanting to
one- The last one expired in 2023, and because cities you can't bind future councils, and I think the attorney will tell you, it doesn't go beyond that fiscal year. That way, you're done, and you're not necessarily trying to commit funds, and we start October 1st, and you would need another contract, unless you do an evergreen or other things that you might do that would continue to renew. That way, it works with your budget. But I'm sorry, man, is there something that we've done to offend you? You appear very unhappy with this, and so I'm just concerned that there's some issue.
Other than interrupting the motion, no, sir. We're good. Thank you.
I will tell you, I think I'm not a fit for y'all. I'm sorry, but what I've observed with your behavior, ma'am, I'm sorry. It's completely arrogant, it's condescending, it's unprofessional, and I'm not fit for you. I'll withdraw. You guys have a nice time.
You know, he's done incredible work for other cities, incredible.
And this one.
That man is a master.
I'll have
He's a
to ask y'all to
master.
hold your comments, please. All right, so we have an open motion that doesn't apply any longer or at this time, Phil, so can you give us some, do we just let that die? Do we need to follow the motion through? What do we?
Yeah, so, I mean, you could still take the motion to table, because it may come back based on other conversation, but since the one party withdrew their consent to the agreement, city can't enter into a contract at this time, so
But we need to follow it through with the table.
Yeah, I think we can just finish the motion to clear it out, or ask for a second, and it could die for lack of a second. That could happen, or it does get tabled and it's an item that comes back next month, depending on what develops between now and then, but that could be readdressed. But at this point, a motion to enter the contract would only be, I mean, technically you can enter the contract, but the second party has withdrawn, so they would have to still enter the contract as well. So you can still take a motion to enter the contract, and then if the second party returns, it's pre-approved, if you will, or not pre-approved, approved here. But yes, we need to finish the motion that's on the table.
Okay, so we have a motion to table. Do we have a second? All right, the motion dies for lack of a second. Are there any further motion on this item?
Quick question. If the current contract was expired in 2023, why are we having this conversation?
Because we are restarting and we've reseeded our EDCA. We're in the process of reseeding our
Right, but he
EDCB.
just withdrew, so my question is just a very simple one. I mean, do we need to be having this
I don't
conversation?
understand why you're interrupting while I'm in the middle of taking motions from the others. You're
Like
upset
how-
about that a moment ago.
I was asking.
Yeah, I know you are, but you're out of turn.
So to have the conversation, to have another motion, is that,
No, why is this a topic of conversation if he withdrew and the contract has already expired from 2023, according to Mr. Esch himself? So why are we even tabling it, or would we just not move forward and not take action, is my question to you.
correct, if there's no further motions, no
Okay.
action is taken,
That was
yes.
all I got.
So my question to council was, are there any other motions along the example of, do we want to move forward with this agreement so that it's approved if Mr. Ash is agreeable to continue to work with us, or do you want to bring it back at a later time, or none of the above? You do not have to make a motion, but I want you to have an opportunity to do that.
So with the correct, whether Mr. Esch comes back or not, is the correct response table it for now? I think maybe we might be a little lost.
Yeah,
It could be.
so
It
by
could certainly
taking
be.
no action, it's just there. It can come back on any future agenda item, just like any item can come onto an agenda. If you take an action that says a motion to never see this again, then that would, I would advise that, because that may make it disappear forever as an opportunity. But right now, since it's not tabled, it won't automatically appear on the next agenda item, but it can still appear on the next agenda as just like any contract can. So we can just, you just move on, no action taken, and then it still sits there.
No action? Fine? All right, item B. Obviously, there's no presentation. Item C, I'm going to skip C for a moment and come back to it. Item D is consider and take action on Economic Development Corporation Type B board member applications. We are not taking any action on that tonight, but I will tell you that we have had 2 additional volunteers who said that they would be willing to serve on an EDC board. The board will not be seated until after we figure out how to do the training and update information. So there's no action to be taken on that.
Lori, just out of curiosity, how many people do we have now that would like to serve?
I think we have 11.
That's
So
awesome.
we could seat B and reseat A so that council doesn't have to serve on both boards.
I think that would be really good.
To serve on council and A.
Yeah.
All right, item C. 5C, consider and take action on the City Hall building repairs and overall painting. So you have one sheet of budget versus actual. I just would like you to notice that that's what budget versus actual looks like, comes right out of the budget, out of fund view. I've highlighted the budgeted maintenance and repair line. The original budget was $24,483. We have 24,000, I'm sorry, I need to stop trying to read this sideways. 24,177.89 remaining. The only payment made from this to date is the 30511 to Cintas. That's the company that takes care of our emergency exit signs and emergency lighting. The reason I bring that to you is we need to revisit the estimates for repair of the back and east side of the building. I don't know if council members were able to come up and take a look at the back, but the panels are rusted out all the way down the building in the back, and not quite as badly, but also on the east end of the building. So if you go to the last quote in your packet, I know this is not the first time you've seen it, but I just put it all back in there as if it was new. This is the quote from the current contractor, thank you, provider. Fetcher Heplinka. We actually had the metal company that's doing the addition come out and look at it and give us the options. So you have options 1, 2, and 3. It's sort of good, better, best. And for everybody else, option 1 is installing panels over the sheets that are already there in the back. Just at the bottom, they would put a 12-inch high patch, if you will, across the back. And that is a $3,897.60 is the bid. Option 2 is cut the existing wall at 4 feet, and it's directly below the first purlin, which is the beam going across. Install new R-panel sheets, so they would take out the rusted, old, put new in. That's about 4 feet out of 12, so was that a third of the height? They put screws on the purlin just like it's installed now. You'd see a line across the back where that new meets the old and comes in underneath. It addresses the electrical service and the air conditioner service that would need to be worked around in the back. It gives you the description of that. That quote is $8,250. And option 3 is to remove and reinstall all new panels, top to bottom, across the back and on that side. That requires some very extensive electrical service panel work on the east side of the building. And that bid is $29,989. So our recommendation, obviously council, you can choose to do whichever version of that you like. If we're saying good, better, best, better is, that middle option is much more within the scope of our annual repair budget. It would allow us to address the problem without having to spend more than triple or the price to do complete new sheets in the back. And since you all saw it, I'm not sure what comments you might like to make about the repair.
Who sees the back of the building?
Who sees the back? I mean, a mower or whoever's there working on the AC and stuff, I guess.
This was option 1.
I pick option 1 because, I mean, if
I
we're
don't see
talking
any
about our
reason-
fix, but
Now,
if we're
you
talking
may not
about
know
our
about
rear,
this.
it's
So if you got,
I think it's about,
you've got rusty material here, and you put another piece of material on top of
Yeah.
that, that rust is gonna transfer into that new material and rust out quickly. And you've got a chance for rain to get behind it. It'll go
Well,
behind
even
it.
though they caulked it.
Even if they caulk it, it's, you're
What
gonna
do you
have
wanna
thermal
do?
expansion in metal, it's gonna do this.
So you want to do number 2.
I like number 2 just because it does go behind just like a normal setting would do, ties into the frame. That's the main reason, just that overlap and not removing the rust is what.
Not only cause more of a problem, so.
so Justin, would you mind to give that explanation?
I'm sorry.
It's okay, about
Yes.
the caulking and the
So-
one on top of the
so-
other?
When you put metal on top of another piece of metal it's already rusted, that rust will transfer and it'll eat into that new material.
It's a cancer.
And it's exactly what it is.
It's just cancer.
It'll eat into that other material and you're gonna eat it out in less than a year. Excuse me.
The longevity.
Longevity is greatly decreased. And then when you've got a metal material on top of another metal material and they seal it with caulk, it's going to expand. That metal will expand faster in and out with the heat, especially what we see. That caulk will release. And then you're going to get water behind it, which is going to add to the rust. When you cut it off and put material behind the other, how a building is made, the water sheds and never goes behind. Then you have new material and there's no rust to transfer. To me, it's the best answer. The other
That's
one
like
is-
shingles, where the top one would be
Yeah.
over the bottom one.
The water will just shed straight over.
Thank you.
I have a question. In our ARPA project, we had discussed, obviously, the extension of City Hall. Was this work not identified then?
No.
Is there a method to that madness?
Is,
Big pieces of rust, or big pieces of
Two
wall with
different
holes in it, nobody saw that?
Well, when we saw it last year, and we saw it last year when we realized we needed to put the new roof on. And it was noticeable all the way down, but it was not nearly at the extent that it is now. It's gotten worse within a year. And the reason that it came back to the front of the project is we need to match the new portion of the building to the current building. We either need to paint it so that they both look the same age or something. So we were inspecting the back of the building in preparation for paint when we realized there's no point in spending money to paint this rusted problem back here in the back. that
Okay,
needs
so
addressing.
the first bid on, from Bachelor Lavinka, includes the repair. The other estimates do not. It's simply a painting estimate. Is there, are
That's
we
correct.
doing the repair and an additional approval of painting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because that's, if we do,
I'm just addressing one thing at a time. is
I know,
all.
I know.
For you all to decide what you want to do about the repair part.
that's kind of why I'm asking. Because the other bids to paint will put us over that $24,000 budget, or availability of
I mean,
budget.
if we do all of them, it comes out to 40,000.
Yeah, that's.
Right, if you did the $30,000 metal repair.
I did option 2.
Yes.
So option 2, and then the painting, and then the,
So you have 2 bids for paint. That's, you wouldn't do them both.
I thought,
There's only one bid for 13 and one bid for 18.
That's correct.
okay, I see what you're talking. I
Yeah.
thought pressure washing was gonna be, all I saw was pressure wash. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So
That's his
let's
budget.
say you chose the middle option, which is, I'm gonna call it 8,000, it's 8,250.
21.6.
And then
that's what I
you
would do.
chose the paint,
Why not take the
which
whole
is
thing? I mean,
14.
everybody's got-
13, 370.
For some reason I gave it to y'all and I didn't.
21,620.
It's
How many?
13.
14?
21,620 is what it comes out to.
If you choose the option 2.
Yeah.
So a small adjustment that I have not discussed with the painters, but that would be part of, would be a reduction, is that when they each wrote this quote, they quoted to paint this end of the building. Well, that won't, it'll have brand new metal, it won't need paint down there. So that's, however many feet of paint that could be removed. And if you put new metal on the back, half is, 4 feet high or whatever, that we will order in the new metal, so that won't need to be painted. They may or may not give us a reduction in price for that. It might just be more of a hassle, so maybe not, but maybe it's $100 less. So I'm just sharing that the painting shouldn't necessarily have an increase, but it could have a small decrease.
Now, why wouldn't they, are you trying to say, they wouldn't do this in because the metal will already have the color on it?
Yes.
And we're actually painting to match
This is to
it?
paint the
Yes.
whole building.
Got it, okay.
We're painting to match the new.
This covers the whole building, does it not? This painting
The
bid?
quote does.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying that the actual paint work would be a little less. They quoted on this building,
I got it.
but this end right here, they included in their quote, but they weren't thinking about, that will have brand new metal, this wall will be
Oh,
moved
because we're
out.
gonna,
Yeah. So.
This does not include, JKD Industries does not include, it says one wall. The other one says that it does include painting of
It says
signs
one
and
wall
things like
color.
that.
It says
It
one
says
wall
one wall
color.
color, so we couldn't choose 2 different or 3 different colors on the wall.
We could use $18,000 one anyway and include the whole building. It just says they're only gonna paint
we're
one
doing
wall.
two.
No, one wall color.
We're doing two colors.
And
Meaning you can only do one color, not
They should
5.
have said
Yeah,
one
okay,
color.
gotcha,
instead of-
gotcha.
Well, there's a wall color and a trim color.
This is so backwards.
Just spread out. One color. Or wall.
So the questions are,
We have to choose a
what
color.
would, I'm not, I think we got a general consensus on that color before, and I might just see if we can get this decision made first.
Have we ever used this
But-
other general contractor, out of curiosity, this one here? It's just secondary choice, it's less expensive.
We have not. They came recommended by the city of Berkshire and the city of Missouri City.
I can't find the one she's looking at.
I didn't put it in my book either, so maybe I messed stuff.
I'll give it to you.
Do you have the
Got a lot of
JKD?
writing on mine.
The first one?
No, it's
I
right.
have JKD, but
It's
I
right
don't.
after.
No. I don't.
It's because you can't get good help around here anymore. I did those books this afternoon, so if I missed it, I apologize. And Mordo, and he itemized with great detail what it includes, which is nice.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill.
And Thatcher and Miko couldn't do the painting. Am I understanding that correctly? They didn't offer an option to do that?
They didn't, they felt like we could probably do it more economically. Because they're not already doing,
think
they
I
don't
got
already
that.
have somebody
I just
contracted to
didn't
do
have
exterior painting.
I think. Well,
It's for interior only.
Okay.
So they, I'm sure they would if you ask them, but we thought we could do better with the local or something.
yeah. I think we're gonna get it done.
The southeast existing sheet repair, is that just the wording that superseded
Yeah, just the name.
the name?
Of the
Okay, I thought it was
file.
maybe a different bid.
I don't know why he called it that when he emailed it to us, but we just saved it that way. I think language we were using in the discussion probably. So, do we have a consensus on which option for repair?
I'd like to do option two.
I
What we're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
So consensus on option 2. And,
Mayor, if I can make a recommendation, we can take it as 2 separate motions. So take the motion to enter
Okay.
with, and I've given away my sheet, so I don't know the name of the third option, or
That's
the construction, destruction, cutting, et cetera, and enter under option 2. And then you could take another motion specific to the paint. You also mentioned that with the paint, that may be even less depending on what they come back with. And so the motion could be something along the lines of approving the company for no more than the amount given, and then when it comes in less, then you're covered there versus giving it for that exact amount. But no greater, I said no greater than, or did I say no less, no greater than whatever.
I heard it, no greater than, I'm not sure if you said
I don't know
it
what the
that way.
minutes will reflect, but I meant to say no greater than.
Great. All right, so let's take it separately. Do we have a motion on the building repair?
I'll make a motion on the building repair to use the second or B,
Option 2?
option 2 from Hefflinka.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Second.
They all seconded it.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Who made the second motion? Who
All of
spoke
them.
first?
Just two.
Okay, Got that one. Okay,
All right, thank you. That's great news.
thank you.
So let's take painting separately. You have the 2 bids. Do we have a motion?
I make a
on
motion
each
that
bid?
we use Eduardo to do the painting for the maximum amount of $13,370.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have Burns and Justin, Jane.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's unanimous.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we finally agreed on
All right, we
something
finally agreed on
tonight.
something. I am so happy.
What
Thank you,
color?
everyone. Oh, here's my,
Don't move.
what color? My copies on the Okay, what we
Strike
talked
pink.
about, and we just had a consensus about it. We didn't really do anything, but just making sure we're all still on the page, same page. Talking about Colony, which is this sort of sage-ish green with light stone is the trim color. So this and this.
Pretty.
Fine,
nice.
whatever.
I like it. Great. So the buildings are in order, just so you know. The metal work for the actual building extension has previously been ordered. And now that we've chosen our color and made our decisions, they can order the panels so that it'll all be ready at one time. Good to go. All right. We're almost there. Don't give up. Item 6 is adjourn into executive session. consult with our legal counsel. When we come back, we'll reconvene in open session and give actions if there are any, and have some reports. All right, thank you all for waiting. We are going to reconvene in open session at 8:37. Item 7 is reconvene. Item 8, we're going to consider and take action resulting from executive session. Phil, you want to give us that motion one more time?
Yeah,
The wording?
Yeah, a motion to enter into the employment agreement as discussed with Nancy Moore for the position of city secretary for the city of Simonton, Texas.
Thank you. Do we have the motion?
Make that motion.
Thank you, Burns.
Second.
We have a second. Justin? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous. Very exciting. We will be moving forward, and everybody will get to meet Nancy Moore. In reports, item 9, I have just a couple of updates, but the most important thing is to ask if each council member would please let me know this week some dates that would work for you in the month of July to individually meet with me and bring priorities that you have for budget for 2024, 2025. And you don't have to have all the numbers worked out, but I want to do roads, or I want to do whatever your project or things that are important to you that you might like to include or change from last year. And that way we can be working on it and having it consolidated. We're going in the right direction when we have our first either workshop or meeting about that.
So you're wanting to do this within the first 2 weeks of July is?
I mean, that would be optimal, but it doesn't have to be before the next meeting because we could schedule our first budget workshop. Since there are 5 Tuesdays in July, it could be a little bit later than that. Like I said, you don't have to have all the answers, just get your priorities of what you'd like us to be sure of. That if we don't do anything else, I'd like this to be included, or I'd like for us to work on that.
You're wanting to see the whites of our eyes, or?
I do.
Okay.
I'm lonely. Come
Got
over and
it.
visit me. Otherwise, the ARPA construction project has been a little bit slow because we are struggling with AT&T to get the right people out here to give us a plan of what needs to be moved for our communication cable and how that needs to be engineered. So God bless Janie, she has been after them solid every day for 2 weeks, and so has the contractor. But they did start demo in the garage of the existing bathroom, and they're cutting out the concrete for the plumbing to go in for the new fixtures that will go over there. So that tanker truck that's usually here is in the ESD right now. And they are being super cooperative. As soon as we know that our trailers are ready to be moved or when they need to be moved, they've agreed to hold those over there as well. So just down the road over here. Anybody who'd like to see it, you're welcome to this evening, but it's a pile of dirt on the garage. It's not really impressive yet. Now that we have our decisions about the building, they'll be able to go ahead and order that. And I think once we get this AT&T worked out, then they can schedule the slab work, the foundation work that will happen on the new section right over here. And I think that's all I'm giving for reports tonight. Ms. Janie, do you have any?
I just want to congratulate the mayor and council for having selected Ms. Nancy Moore. I got to meet with her and visit with her briefly. She's an excellent candidate. She has wonderful skills, and I think that she's going to be a very good fit for the city of Simonton.
So thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it. Anybody on council have a report?
I actually have a quick question. Both of you mentioned different 4th of July activities, correct? One's at Daly Park and one's at the park in Valley Lodge, correct? Okay, just clarifying. Sorry. Thank you.
You got AM party, evening party.
Gotcha.
One's fireworks and one's parade, correct?
Correct.
There's no fireworks in the city limits.
I know.
Don't be sad.
I'm not.
With that, let's adjourn. It's 8:47. I'm sorry, it's 8:42. It's 8:42. Okay.